Hey, hey, hey. Hey, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Um, I am, it's been a minute. So happy New Year and all of those things. I am excited to be here. I am grateful to be here, and I am grateful to have the opportunity and the space to talk about what we're going to dive into on tonight. And so, if you have no idea who I am, hey Facebook, hey Instagram, if you have no idea who I am, my name is Lindsey Walker. I am a publicist. I work with brands to help them get more visibility and land publicity that leads to profits and visibility in their businesses. Okay. And I've been seeing so much chatter happening, so much chatter taking place. Obviously, there's a lot going on in the world, right? There's so much going on in the world right now that it's scary, right? It can be scary. It can get a little crazy, right? But tonight, I want to speak to my fellow creatives, the business owners, entrepreneurs. And I want to remind you that you are necessary. You are necessary as a CEO. You are necessary as a business owner. You are necessary in your respective fields, in your industries. We need you. We need you. When I say we, I mean the world needs you. The globe needs you. The universe, like the actual real place to get another day. But you're necessary and you're needed. And so now is not the time for anyone under the sound of my voice to throw in the towel. It's not time to throw in the towel. It's not time for you to quit. It's not time for you to allow your fears and the what ifs to get the best of you. Now is the time for you to remember why you started. And even if you have a new why, right, hold on to that. Because sometimes we can start because we just need to make income and then our children become our why, right? Or we can start because someone discriminated against us on a job and then there's a greater why, right? And just in case you're listening to me and you're like, yeah, this sounds good, but I don't feel like it. Let me explain to you exactly why you are necessary. Let me explain to you why you are necessary. Government funding temporarily cut. Right? That means that there's an opportunity, if we faint not, there's an opportunity for collective funding, right? And there's an opportunity for growth. There's an opportunity to show up and stand in the gap. But if everybody decides that they're going to quit, what's going to happen? Right? If you decide tomorrow that you want to do something different because it looks a little shaky, what happens? What happens then? So I want to encourage you that now more than ever is the time for you to use your voice. And I'm going to talk about this whole boycotting movement in just a moment, because I actually have a lot to say about that particular topic on tonight. However, first, we have to do some looking in the mirror, right? I'm the mirror today. Because here's the thing, your message and your voice is important. You have something to say. You have a reason to continue the work now more than ever. You have a reason to build. You have a reason to try to work to scale. You have a reason to get that partnership together. You have a reason to create that content and continue to build. But you have to make sure that you're in the right spaces and places. You have to make sure that you're in the right spaces and places. What do I mean? You gotta cut the chatter, not the cheddar, the chatter out. You have to cut the chatter out. What's the chatter? Anyone that gets you off focus, anyone or anything that stops you from believing that now is your time, right? Whatever the sources of that mindset is, you have to cut it off. It's so important. One of the beautiful things about my work as a publicist is that I have the blessing and the privilege and the honor of working with founders and creatives, and some of them are in the beauty spaces, and I'll get to that in just a second. But here's the thing. You have a story to tell, and that is what I help my clients do. I help them navigate in various spaces. I help them become thought leaders in their industries. Why? Because their work matters, and so does yours, right? We're going to pray. That's not great. Okay, praise God. But so does yours, right? Your work matters. So how are you going to show up in the world and show people why they need to continuously support you if they don't know that you exist? Or if you're becoming so bogged down with what you're watching on the media, instead of you becoming bogged down with what you're watching on the media, you need to focus on becoming a part of the media conversations, because what you have on the inside of you is necessary for today, for tomorrow, for the next generation. And so this is why it's important for you to share your story. This is why it's important for you to get visibility. It's why it's important for you to continuously create brand awareness, not for the clout, and not for the social proof, not for anything other than you getting out what it is that you have to say and what your company stands for. What are your core values? What do you believe? Now is the time to give people a narrative and give them another part of the conversation. Politics are going to politic. It's been like that since the beginning of time. The government, they're going to government. But how are you going to show the next generation anything different if you quit? If you say, you know what, um, I can't do this. Entrepreneurship's not for me, count me out, or I don't have anything to say. Or if you say, well, you know, I'm uncertain. And I do get that that's a reality, right? I get that those are realities, but now is the time. You got to toss that fear out the window. We have to toss that fear out the window, that uncertainty out the window, the what ifs out the window. If you have the time, right, and the resources to continue, right, to build out your businesses, now's the time to do that. Now is the time for you to do that. You have to. You have to. Okay. Now, I'm going to share my take and let me check something real quick. I'm going to share my take on the boycotting situation and the chatter and the conversation that I've been seeing. Okay. Now, first of all, thank you, because this will be on our podcast, the Publicity Club podcast, and we're now over 500 downloads. So shout out to each and every one of you who are listening. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for all the love, um, and all of the support. And so when I thought about what this boycott or just conversations about boycotts, right? Of course, we know Target's rolling back their DI, Walmart, a plethora of places, right? There's a whole entire list that you can go look and you can go Google, okay? And initially, when we get news, there's always some sort of clickbait, um, outrage or outrage in general or emotionalism. And that's a part of what the media wants to do at times, right? They want to stir the people up. I feel like I'm going to do a live on like from a whole different spiritual and faith-based aspect of media. However, so of course, everyone's outraged and rightfully so, right? I know that for me, there are a ton of um, various brands that I love, that I utilize, that I was very proud to see that those brands were in Target, right? I was extremely proud to go to Target and support those brands, okay? I looked the other day and apparently there was like this big 50% off sale that Target was having, right? So we're acknowledging all of this. Now, on the flip side, many of those brands, many of the creators, they were a part of programming, accelerators, funding, all of these things. And they do not yet have a grasp of what exactly the rollback on the DEI programming means for them. But they do know that they have a ton of units still in all of these stores, right? And I know Melissa from the Lip Bar and Courtney from the Main Choice and a couple of other folks, I believe Kim from Curl Mix too, they've all been extremely vocal about the stance and what it would mean to boycott prematurely. And when I say boycott prematurely, here's what I mean. If there was a national call, right? If there was a national call for boycotting and everyone got organized and did all the things to make sure that it could be successful, it would be too soon. Okay. Now, here's why. Because those Black owned businesses who are still in stores and have to now figure out, okay, well, what does this mean for our products, right? Because you have to think about it. I don't care what they say, but Black History Month is in February, okay? So I'm quite sure they had various rollouts planned, various events planned for these rollouts, pop-up shops, and all the things. And inventory, right, is accounted for in some of these spaces. And inventory, not only from a physical standpoint, but inventory that they're waiting to be shipped and all of the things that go into retail, they're losing money. They're losing money every time that their brand's not sold, right? And it's still in these stores. So what should happen, and I think a part of it already is, but what should happen is before anything else, we have to go out and buy, prove a point, clear the shelves, right? And you better believe that these founders are going to bounce back. They're going to figure it out, and they will be supported by their consumer, right? And by their target audience. My question to you is, how are you as a business owner reaching your consumers and your target audience? How are you inserting yourself as an expert into these spaces and into these conversations? What work are you doing to make sure that you are building legacy? That's my question. We can talk boycott. We can talk about what we should do. We can talk about what we're going to do. But the bottom line comes to, and not me, but you, right? All of us. Personal choices matter in these types of situations. And here's what I mean. I don't mean you just are deciding not to shop at Target anymore, or you're not going to shop at Publix, or you're not going to shop at Kroger, or any of these places, or we're just all going to build our own thing. Because those things are possibilities. But here's the thing. When those stores pop up, do you support them? Because some of them have already been in existence anyway. So you have to think from the standpoint of, how am I contributing to the legacy that I say that I want to leave? And the best way for you to do that is to show up. That's the best way. That is the best thing that you can do right here, right now, is to make a decision to show up. You have to make a decision to show up. Policies are going to shift and change. They've been shifting and changing since the beginning of time, right? But as they're shifting and changing, what changes are you truly making to your business so that you can become more profitable, so that you become the answer, right? What changes are you making to where you shift your bottom line and you become the first millionaire in your family? What changes are you making to ensure that you can leave an inheritance for your children's children's children? That's what we're called to do, especially as believers, right? But what are you implementing in your business? Or are you allowing yourself to get caught up in this fear cycle and you're not moving forward? And I'm telling you now, those that decide to continue to show up, those that decide to allow their voices to be heard in the media, those that decide that I'm going to become more visible now than ever, because there's always going to be a tool. There's always going to be a way that you can get your message out to the masses. And that is the beauty of publicity, right? And I'll talk about how I can help you in a second, but you have to make a decision. Okay. You have to make a decision. And that decision has to happen every single day. Right. And so I just wanted to share that with you tonight because, again, I've been seeing all this chatter and all these things, and I want to encourage the business owner that's like, oh my gosh, Lindsey, well, what do I do? What do I say? All the things. And understand above all else that you are necessary. Okay. Now, For those of you that are like, Lindsay, I want to build legacy. I want to continue to increase my publicity and my thought awareness, my brand awareness and my thought leadership. I am hosting, and I'll put it at the end here. I am hosting our publicity game plan sessions live. So for those of you that don't know, from November until January, and I know we're at the tail end, but from November until January, I hosted live one-on-one sessions where I worked with business owners to, excuse me, create their quarter 1 publicity plans, and I walked them through the entire thing. Well, now we're getting ready to do that in a group setting. Okay, we're getting ready to do that in a group setting, and so um I'm gonna put the link and you can click it and you can join me on February 6th. It'll be our first one. And I'm just super excited to dive more into strategy and how you can continue to make your voice heard in the masses, in media, and in the marketplace. All right. So until the next episode, I believe I'll be here tomorrow, but until the next episode, I will see you soon.